Okay, so today we're going to be doing the nature of business. Sorry, the nature of productivity, right? So I had done this slide previously, and so just let me know as well if you have also done this at school. The factors of production. Alright, so these are the 4 factors of production: labor, land, capital, and entrepreneurship. So just one question. Do you think that capital is just money, or it has to do with something more? Okay. So as I said, these are the... Hold on, let me get back to it. So these are the 4 factors of production, sorry. Okay. So as I said, since I did this, I'm gonna move swiftly along. You can look back at one of the recordings from my colleagues, right? Just to get a bit of an idea of what the factors of production is, but we can always go back a little later. Okay. Okay. But what I'm gonna do today is that I am going to look at the difference between productivity and production. Okay, so a productivity is just production is just the making of goods and services out of the resources and that you may have. And the example I have here is on that an accountant can actually offer advice to clients, financial and business advice, since she went to he or she receives an education, and so the education would be a resource that she used in order to produce a service. Whereas productivity is just a measure of how much output can be produced by a given level or set of income, right? So in terms of your studying, right? An example would be, how much questions can you do? How much exam questions can you do in an hour? Right? So that would be productivity. Okay. And productivity can be measured by the following, right? It can be, as I said before, it can be measured by the quantity of output on top, and then the denominator is the quantity of the input, right? So then labor productivity is just measuring how much one person can produce in that specific hour, right? And so the example that I had given on this question on is how much the employee can actually make, the owner of a bakery, how much cakes can they bake in 2 hours, right? So that would be an example of labor productivity. So another example is that if a Honda car plant produces 500 cars per hour with 1,000 employees, sorry, that was supposed to be an S. What is the labor productivity of each employee? So, as you guys, as the previous equation may see, is back here, and so you would have the quantity of output at the top, and then the denominator of input are the employees, right? And so you have 500 over the 1,000 employees. So then that would give you 0.5. And it just says that one car is made per employee, right? So hopefully you can understand all of that so far. And just remember that you can stop me if I'm going too fast or if you don't understand anything. Please stop me and I can always go over it. And you're all correct. And I was also thinking, and that also changing your the methods and that you use can also increase your productivity. I know that one person had said putting in more hours, even though yes, that can be seen as productivity, it may not be efficient, right? And what I mean by efficient isn't that even though yes, you increase the number of hours, there is this statement that says work smarter and not harder, right? And so by changing the approaches to studying may actually reduce the time, but also increase the way that you learn. For example, right? As I'm telling you this now, right? I am using examples so that you are able to relate effectively to the information, right? And so it also says that examples can actually explain 1,000 words, right? So by using an example, that way it would stick in your head faster, and then you'd be able to better explain the concepts, right? So what I have here is that organizing work more efficiently. For example, setting out the layouts of the machines in a factory, by putting them like close to where you actually work, that can reduce a wasted time, right? Of having to go back and forth and all of that, right? And the same thing that I just said about revising and all the examples, right? Organizing your approaches in a way that easily helps you to understand. So say if you're also a visual learner, right? You would draw out the concepts or find a funny story in order to relate to the information so that you can work much faster, right? And so the next point is using more productive resources, right? So tell me, what are some of the equipment and that you use while studying?
Mm, flashcards.
Flashcards. Okay, yes, 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 yes. Good. What else? And you can also use previous exam papers as well to help you study. You can also use apps. Um, so, for example, right, when I was studying for a math exam I had to do in the summer vacation, I had actually used a website called Mathway, right? So it would actually it's kind of like a calculator ish kind of app, but what it does is in that you can actually type out the question or the math sum in that in the column, and it would actually give you the answer as well as how it got out the answer, right? And so I find that really truly helped me to understand math a lot more, right? So the next point is to use, as we said before, using um, computers, technology, or automation in order to get through the processes much quicker, right? So, on the last, oh yes, and also, as someone had said, incentives as well. So, I also have here using approaches that motivate employees to work harder. I would be like offering them bonuses, and as someone said, incentives and also job rotation can actually work. And before we actually move on to the next point, um, throughout the pandemic and all of that, as you may see your parents working from home and all of that, do you think that your parents or relatives have been more productive or less productive in working from home?
Say a little more productive.
Pardon me, I didn't hear you.
I would say a little more productive depending. It depends though.
Oh, okay. 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 And what do you think that is?
Can you repeat that, please?
I said, what do you think that is? Or what do you think they're working a little harder? Okay. Um. Okay. So maybe. maybe they're more comfortable in their homes and at work. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Right. So I have the that's supposed to be importance, but the importance of, of productivity. So, productivity allows you to be more competitive in terms of volume and even in price. For example, China, right? And what I mean by that, as you know, that China is big on manufacturing, right? And so they have the space in order to do heavy production, and also to have also a low price as well. So then all of that makes it very competitive, right? And then China is also an economy of scale, just meaning and that the products are going to be much cheaper than other places, right? And if you also see, right, comparing Barbados or maybe Trinidad, right, things that are made in your own home country are oftentimes very more expensive than importing them, right? That is why many times most of our governments around the Caribbean would usually import food and all of that from other countries rather than doing it in our very own home country. Because if you produce it in your own home country, you're going to need to look at operating costs. You're gonna need to look at locations and all that. Barbados may not even Barbados may not have the space to even do that kind of manufacturing as maybe Trinidad, as the other bigger Caribbean countries, right? So another importance of productivity is that the rising income and rising export sales, as well as profits for domestic firms, right? And so you know that as I said before, once you are able to produce more and your costs are low, you bet you're gonna get sales, right? You're gonna get sales, right? And then you're gonna get clients and all of that just buying up your products, right? And so you have a lot of income flowing in to your organization or into your country, right? So another aspect is government policy. Government policy may also relate to increasing productivity of labor. So what that means isn't that if you understand the ease of doing business, what the ease of doing business is just that it is it's like an evaluation on how business is conducted in a certain country, right? So it all depends exactly on what the government enforces that allow you to work effectively, right? Meaning, okay, for example, the government is able to allow employees to work for 50 hours, right? Even though that shouldn't be humanly possible because people still need their rest, right? But let's say, for example, that people are able to work 50 hours a week, right? And so they're putting in a lot of that work, a lot of productivity, right, in order to offer more goods and more services, right? So you guys can stop me if you want to discuss something, if you want to say something as well. Okay, but if you don't, we're gonna continue, all right, to the next slide. So the next slide says improve the labor supply, right? So the definition of the of labor supply, it just means that it is the number of hours that the labor force can be prepared to work and overall levels of production, right? So I just concentrate the number of hours, right, that a person can actually work, right? So it says that, and as we focus again on the work harder, work longer kind of mentality, we're going to see exactly how it's better to work smarter than harder is gonna play on our production as well as productivity, right? So let's look at the employee working longer. Let's see its effect on the production. Okay, so it says that employees working longer, the level of production actually increases. However, its effect on productivity, it doesn't have any effect at all, right? So it has no effect on productivity. And remember I said that the production is about increasing more, right? But productivity is about how much you can do within a certain time. And so the working longer concept is that, okay, you have a higher level of production, but yet you weren't able to be efficient, right? And so what a productivity isn't that you have to be both effective and efficient, right? And what efficient means is just using less resources to be able to accomplish a certain goal, right? And with with production, it's just simply the level of the amount of produce that is produced. Okay, so I actually want to just go down a little, skip a little of this to get you to the exercise. All right, so here so here I have, in the Caribbean, many people are hired for sugarcane farming, but little equipment is used. This industry is best described as, it's a multiple choice question, right? As A, labor intensive, 2, capital intensive, B, capital intensive, C, having low capital input, and then D, having high capital input. So you have to choose out of the 4. which one best describes this scenario? All right. Okay. I just think about it. It's actually in the Okay, question. Do you guys understand what these 4 options actually mean? So that I can help you along if needed. Okay. Okay, so no one knows. All right, that's fine. Okay, and so the key is many people are hired, right? And you know that labor has to do with people, right? So it's gonna be labor intensive, right? And from before I get to my follow-up question, right? And you can probably see my previous slide on work ethic, right? So I want you guys to really and truly tell me, when you're studying, what types of emotions or attitudes that you have towards studying. Switch back to my laptop. Yeah, so you guys can tell me, what are some of the feelings and that you have of when you're studying? Do you feel excited to learn, or do you feel bored out of your mind whenever you study? Are you like, oh my goodness, I have to study this again, right? So, what are you thinking while you're studying?
I mostly find it boring.
Great. You said you find it great.
No, it's boring.
Oh, boring. Oh, boring. Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Sometimes it can be very boring as well. So I guess what would help with that is you can actually have a study partner, right? Someone who can actually make things very lively and all of that for you, and also get you a couple of and also motivate you as well, because I know that I kind of miss being at school. I want to have all my friends with me. I were just studying together, right? They make it a lot more fun. So sometimes, yes, it can be very boring. But as I said, you can either try to use examples, stories to make it more interesting, a funny story, right, and connect it to the information, right? So, before we actually leave, right, just give me a minute. I want you guys to actually answer this riddle, right? Don't worry, it's a very easy, but yet actually no, I'll let you figure it out. Just give me a minute so that I'll be able to pull it up, and then you guys can tell me who it is. right? Okay. All right, so I want you guys to read it. To listen carefully. I'm gonna read it twice, right? So it says, the name of the riddle is called a sound economic reason, right? So here it goes. You will know that I am coming from the jingle of my bell. But exactly who am I is not an easy thing to tell. Children, they adore me, for they find me jolly, but I do not see them when the halls are decked with when the halls are decked with holly. My job often leaves me frozen. I am a man that all should know, but I do not do business in times of sleet or ice or snow. I travel much on business, but no reindeer haul me around. I do all my traveling firmly on the ground. I love the time of Christmas, but that's not my vocational season. And I assure that it is because of a sound economic reason. Who am I? Okay, so I'm gonna read it again if you haven't gotten it right. So here it goes again. You will know that I am coming from the jingle of my bell. But exactly who am I is not easy to tell. Children, they adore me, for they find me jolly, but I do not see them when the halls are decked with holly. My job often leaves me frozen. I am a man that all should know, but I do not do business in times of sleet or ice or snow. I travel much on business, but no reindeer haul me around. I do all my traveling firmly on the ground. I love the sound of Christmas, but that's not my vocational season, and I assure that it is because of a sound economic reason. Who am I?
Santa?
I said that again?
Santa?
Uh, it's not Santa. Any other guesses of who it is? All right. So I bet all of you would have even thought that it was Santa. At first, I did think that it was Santa, but no, it's not Santa. It is the Iceman. Sorry, the ice cream man. Right? It's the ice cream man. So that's just a joke, a little joke assignment, um, and that I thought that I would just put into the class. All right. Jonathan, sorry, my other colleague is supposed to come at 5. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed the class, despite the whole connection issues. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It was good to teach you guys. So yeah. Do you have any more questions? Or would you like to continue the session? But I think that was a lot already. But I will post these slides for you so that you can have access to them. All right. And so that you guys can actually go through the all of these slides on your own, right? And then next week you can actually come with your questions if you have any, right? And then we'll just go through it once again next week.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. So I hope that everyone have a good week. And also I find ways to make your studying a lot more enjoyable as well. As I said, you can find jokes. You can write stories in order to help you remember, which would also push your productivity as well. So as you said, reward yourself indeed as well when you work hard and putting the work, right? So those are just some tips. And always remember, all right, that these business courses aren't just something for you to pass or to have as a certificate, but also find ways that you can actually incorporate what you're learning to a real life as well, so that it will become more real to you, right? So that's just my 2 cents. I'm happy to meet all of you, and I know that we are gonna have a very splendid term. So I wish you all the best in any exams that you may have at school, and please stay safe. All right, goodbye everyone.